future.
This is Professor Steffen Schmidt. I am just wanting to comment briefly on our coastal flotsam and debris interests. And some of you have asked me why I put so many different kinds of pieces of information in each week's lesson plan. I have reports, I have templates for how to assess and study marine debris and marine flotsam. I have information in there in that site that has educational material that sort of doesn't seem exactly relevant to you perhaps, that's more for community groups or for teaching kids in school about garbage and marine debris and essentially what I would consider to be sort of noxious littering on beaches and oceans. And I wanted to clarify why I do that. We don't have time to cover all the topics that are relevant to the discussion of marine and coastal debris. That's pretty obvious. We can't get in depth into, for example, the effects on the marine seafood ecosystems, what chemicals and plastics do when they get into that food chain, and eventually probably will end up and already are ending up in our food chain when we consume these things. What are the long-term consequences, the sort of health issues that are related to marine debris and flotsam? We don't have a lot of time to get into the specific impact. For example, simply on climate, there is a little bit of information, but the occurrence of large garbage patches made up mostly of light-colored plastics, which are can be seen from outer space. They're that big. Apparently, could have an impact on climate because color does have an impact in terms of reflexivity of light and so on, and heat. We don't have time to get into all of that. And so what I have done in this class is given you assignments on what I consider to be the basics, the bread and butter, the issues that will at least touch on most of the things that we want to do. But remember, your academic experience, your studies and your work with me are not limited to a class. They are not limited to one instructor. You need to look out after your own professional development, your professional future. You need to have available resources when you interview, when you are on a job site or doing a scientific project, where you can access information, material, and tools that will make your work more exciting, interesting, and get you praises and get you credibility and hopefully get you raises and jobs and promotions from the organizations that you're working for. I hope that you will download a lot of those reports that I am giving you, a lot of the assessment matrices, consulting firm assessments, for example, study plans for school kids and so on, and put them in folders that you will then have after you're done with the class. Those folders are your marine debris and coastal debris library, basically. They are your resource toolbox for all kinds of other stuff that you will do in the future. I probably should have said this earlier, but I think it's very important that you remember and be aware that you know, the 3 credits that you're getting or whatever from me and the brief experience that we have with each other in discussions and with me offering you some ideas is just a flash in the pan. You need to be responsible for being resourceful going forward and have available that material to use in the future. And that's why I actually have essentially lots of things in the websites. It is not to drive you crazy and it is not to make you work too hard. I think you have some idea that I want you to look at that material, but I don't assess in depth most of that because it's quite a lot. But I do want you to have it available to yourself going forward so that you, whatever it is you do, whether you volunteer in the community or work for an engineering firm, the government, go into academia, research, or consult for marinas who want to become greener, you will at least have a starting point for some very specific and very, I think, sophisticated information that I've provided you. So I hope you appreciate that, and that you will save it, use it, and make it your resource base for future activities, not just for your brief experience in a course. Thanks.